Okay, we're rolling.
Okay, my name is Ted Niehaus, a German from central Minnesota. And I have the great joy of having these few words here. Here we're in La Cruz de Rio Grande in Nicaragua, East Coast, where Rio Grande from Matagalpa runs out into the Caribbean Sea. So I've been here in Nicaragua for 40-some years. I've been here on this river now for 32 years. And I'm taking care of the Catholic Church here in this area of Nicaragua. So it's been a real fine experience. We're living here in the tropics. It's midday here in La Cruz, and we're sweating a little bit, although it's the 2nd of February. Up in Minnesota, we've all tied up in a lot of heavy clothing, but here we're sweating here the 2nd of February in the tropics here in Rio Grande. But anyway, what I wanted to say, it's been a great experience here working with these people. These are all campesinos who have gone into this area here some years back. Some have been here just a few years. Some have been here 20 or 30 or 40 years. So they're all coming into the area looking for land to make their home and work with their family. So what we're doing here in this area here, it's a very extensive area. This area I'm working is 7,000 square kilometers of rainforest, and I'm working out into the country off the river. There's no road into here. We go out with mule and horse. On the river we get in and out by boat. And anyway, in this situation here, we're trying to develop a community center every 3 hours of walking or riding up into the hills and into the rainforest, where we'd have a church, a school, a health clinic, and other facilities of that kind. Especially trying then to get these people to unite and to work together to promote their little area, their little community. Have them then with religious motivation to be united and to take care of one another. Anyway, the plan then is to get leaders formed there, and they would appreciate this area, this very rich rainforest, and help them to know how to develop this area so that they would have a place to bring up their families. Many people have large families, usually between 4 up to 8 children in each family. So it's a young population, a young society here. And so there's a lot of educating to do, and it's a time also to help them to know how to cultivate and make productive their area so that they be able to support their family that they have there. So this is what we're doing here. I'm taking care of nearly 100 mountain rainforest communities. Each one had between 50 and 100 families, each one. And so there's a religious leader out there, a lay leader in each one of these. They also have the school teacher and other people who are working in the promoting other people. And so my work is then as a missionary with these people. We're training these people to get on their own feet and take care of their own needs in their own church. And so I'm training their local leaders, church leaders, and also supporting the efforts here with forming teachers and also health leaders in their community. So,
you mentioned campesino. Can you explain?
Campesino is a person who lives in the campo, which in Spanish means in the field, in the country. These are, in other words, rural people I'm talking about when I say campesino. They're the people who live outside of towns. Here the people don't live in villages. They live spread out. Each one has their little plot of land. Some have maybe up to 100 acres, but many of them just have a small plot of about 10 or 20 acres. And that's where they'd have their home. They'd have their gardens there where they raise their fruit trees and their vegetables and their grains, especially beans and corn.
But these people are new to this area. They have moved in here recently, and what used to be virgin rainforest.
Well, here we have something of everything. There are some people only been here for a year or two. Others have been here all their life. They've been born and raised here, have been living here, let's say 40, 50 years. And so we have something of everything here. There's a very migrant population. Many people have come in, lived about, say, 4 or 5 years here, and they sell out to somebody else coming in and move on to another lot. And so they're constantly looking how to better their situation. The poverty is on top of them on all sides. They're always trying to better their situation. So there's always a lot of inquietud, we say in Spanish, a lot of seeking how to better their situation.
And yesterday I rode from Tortuguero to here. And what about that region between here and there that I covered yesterday?
Well, that land there, the most part of it, it's actually titled by a company who bought up all that land here about 50 years ago and have a title on that. Those people, a lot of people have moved in there, have taken up the land. It's not really a land that they've titled. They're just living there, as we call it, paracaidistas, parachuters. They just moved in and started farming the area, but they have no security on their living there. And so a lot of those people moved in there, maybe stayed a few years, and those who are actually, a lot of them living there now have bought the land from somebody else who started there and taken over the plot that somebody else started. And so they're gradually working each one a little bit more, and the rainforest is going very quick. They're constantly cutting it down. It's all being turned into one big pasture land, grass.
Yeah, you told me that 30 years ago that was pretty much all virgin rainforest.
That's right. 30 years ago when I came here, there's quite a long area where you cross from Tortuguero to La Cruz. That's coming from the Niehaus River to the Grande River here. That is maybe about 50 or 60 kilometers of area, but there were only 4, 5, or 6 houses in that whole area. That was all virgin rainforest. And since then, the people have been coming in from all sides trying to get pieces of that land. And so they stake off pieces and start claiming it their own and working it. So it's gone in the last 30 years very quickly populated. There's very little land left that's free anymore.
Okay, and I just have 2 more questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
You said that the journey I made yesterday, 8.5 hours by horse, is something that you don't see gringos like me do very often?
That's very true. All the time I've been here, I think maybe in all these years, the most 4 or 5 times somebody has tried something like this to cross through the territory. We're really in the boondocks here. It's like the end of the world, we say, because we have no mail service here. There's no telephone service, and there's no other communications with the outside world here other than some of them have these satellite telephones, but the people are quite poor and can't do that. And on all, we're kind of out of communications here. And so for that reason, I think a lot of people, they have no idea how to get in here and how to get out. Sometimes there have been a couple that have come down the river on riverboats and just passed through here, coming down from Matagalpa, from San Pedro, down to La Cruz, and go out to the ocean by Bluefields, and just go on boats, but get back in the land. I think you, one of the first ones I've seen, have been doing that on their own to make that trip. So I'd like to congratulate you for trying such an adventurous trip.
Thank you. And finally, how often do you have the opportunity to speak to somebody in English?
Well, that's a good question. I think when I'm here, I don't hear English here for months. I hardly ever go out to the city. When I go out sometimes to the city where I can meet some of my countrymen from the States who live in other parts of Nicaragua, well, I have a chance to talk with them. But I sometimes go up to 4 or 5 months without hearing a word of English. So I'm pretty much with the Spanish language here, and I don't have much opportunity to speak English. So if I'm not speaking too correct, it's because unused language.
I think it's great. It's really interesting for me. Yeah. So thank you for your time.
Okay, I'm really happy you came today to see us.
Great, thank you. And I'm just going to show a little bit of the office here at the church.
Okay. This house here is about 60 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Ya terminaron.
El 10 que el 10 que el 10 aquí.
Yes.